You said, I would be dictator for the day and just to secure the border and drill for oil. I thought it was tongue-in-cheek. I was sitting there with you. However, my question is a very serious one. You know, people are claiming you want retribution. People are claiming you want what has happened to you done to Democrats. Would you do that ever?
Look, what's happened to me has never happened in this country before. And it has to stop because...
Wait a minute. I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
Well, it does have to stop because we're not going to have a country
And if you're
anymore.
elected, what does that mean? Define that.
Look, what I've gone through, nobody's ever gone through. I'm a very legitimate person. I built a great business. Everything's been... I have been under siege. Nobody's ever seen anything like this in this country. Now, in other countries,
That was Donald Trump's most recent appearance on Fox News, where he was being interviewed by Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity had to ask multiple times if Donald Trump wants revenge or retribution if he gets a second term. Donald Trump really failed to answer for a while. Even in that clip, you hear Sean Hannity say, "What do you mean it has to stop? I want you to clarify." And there's more to the clip, but Donald Trump keeps on dodging the question until finally he gives the game away and basically says, yeah, they're open to prosecution if I win a second term. Watch this clip.
I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
well, it does have to stop because we're not going to have a country
And if you're
anymore.
elected, what does that mean? Define that.
Look, what I've gone through, nobody's ever gone through. I'm a very legitimate person. I built a great business. Everything's been, I have been under siege. Nobody's ever seen anything like this in this country. Now, in other countries, in other third world countries, or banana republics, as they say, a banana republic, we've become a banana republic. At the border, we've become a banana republic. With so many other elements of our country, we've become a banana republic. You take a look at what's happening with inflation. That's a banana republic inflation, what we have. I think it could be as high as 50% if you add everything in. When you start adding energy prices in, when you start adding interest rates, which have gone from 2% to 9 and 10%.
But focus on those that want people to believe that you want retribution.
That was Sean Hannity having to ask again, please focus in on these people who say you want retribution. And I'm really surprised that Fox News and Sean Hannity decided to press him this hard. But I think Sean Hannity realized, what I realized while watching, is that Donald Trump has only a few pre-programmed talking points that he can go into. And then he starts to break down like a robot who doesn't have batteries. You hear him say over and over in this interview, we won't have a country, millions and millions of people. He even makes up numbers saying there's 50% inflation in the United States. That is not backed up by any statistic. He literally just pulled that out of his ass. And thankfully, Sean Hannity, I don't think I'd ever say those words, but thankfully, Sean Hannity tries to center the conversation by saying, all right, let's focus on those who say you want retribution. Here's the clip.
But focus on those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political enemies.
So, number one, they're wrong. It has to stop because otherwise we're not going to have a country. Look, when this election is over, based on what they've done, I would have every right to go after them. And it's easy because it's Joe Biden. And you see all the criminality, all of the money that's going into the family and him. All of this money from China, from Russia, from Ukraine. During one of the interviews, I said, what about the $3.5 million paid to the Biden family from the mayor of Moscow's wife? What about that? And Chris Wallace defended him, said, you can't ask that question. Well, then it turned out to be a big deal long after that debate. That was one of the debates. And it turned out to be a big deal. And Chris Wallace said, we can't go there because we don't know that it should turn out to be true. Millions and millions of dollars. Now,
By the way, he had dinner with her at the Cafe Milano. And he said to America he never once talked to his son, brother, or anybody about their foreign business deal.
Well, he said it, and then you found out it was absolutely untrue. Everything he says is untrue. There's never been a president like this. Look, he's a horrible president. He's destroying our country at the border. He's allowing millions of people to come in from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, which is a step above, a big step above a mental institution.
So there it is. Donald Trump says verbatim, I would have every right to go after them. This is what he spent years building up to by undermining every single institution in the country, undermining our legal and judicial system, and saying that there was a deep state going after him. Now, since he's laid this groundwork, if he does get a second term, if he does, he would go after his political opponents, and in his mind, in the minds of his cult followers, he would be totally justified. But I found the dynamic of that interview to be really interesting because Sean Hannity actually kept digging, but then right when Donald Trump says he would have every right to go after them, Sean Hannity begins to agree with Donald Trump and says, oh yeah, Biden is just as corrupt. He continues to agree with him as the interview goes on. Donald Trump also claims that the Biden family is getting millions and millions of dollars from foreign countries. There is nothing backing this up. There is no proof. They've tried to impeach him multiple times. I mean, they've spent months and months digging for something to impeach President Biden for, but it seems like they're starting with the conclusion that President Biden did something wrong and are working backwards from there rather than starting off with evidence. But here's more clips.
You pledge to restore equal justice, equal application of our laws, end this practice of weaponization. Is that a promise you're going to make?
You have to do it. But it's awful. Look, I know you want me to say something.
No, I don't want you to say. I'm asking.
But I don't want to look naive.
I don't want
what they've done to the Republican Party, they want to arrest on no crime. They want to arrest the person that won the nomination in a landslide. There was nobody even close in a landslide. The person that got millions of votes, more votes than any other sitting president in history in the last election. The person that won an election that he wasn't expected to win against Hillary Clinton in 2016. They want to arrest that person on no crime. They want to arrest, there was no crime. There was no criminality, there was no crime. And you can go back to all of these.
So we're at the point of the interview where Donald Trump just spews out lies. And of course, there's no pushback from Sean Hannity whatsoever, but he made multiple false statements right there. First of all, he claims that Democrats are targeting him. There's no proof of that whatsoever. He was convicted by a jury of his peers. He claims that he won the last election by millions and millions of votes. I don't even have to debunk that one. He lost so many court cases, over 60 court cases. Everybody in his cabinet kept telling him, hey, the election wasn't stolen. His own DOJ, Bill Barr, said, hey, the election wasn't stolen over and over. We have all of this evidence to the contrary. He then said that he had the best economy, even though unemployment was spiking and the economy was in the gutter when he left office. We saw a recovery thanks to President Biden. In this next clip, he again makes the claim that he thought locking up Hillary Clinton would be terrible, but I have a compilation of Donald Trump calling to lock up Hillary Clinton. I'll play them back to back. Watch.
A certain way, after we won against Hillary, people would say, lock her up, lock her up. And I said, wouldn't it be terrible if I locked up the wife of the President of the United States, former, and locked up the former Secretary of State? It's a terrible thing. You know, you're starting if you want to bring the country together.
I will say this, Hillary Clinton has to go to jail, okay? She has to go to jail. For what she's done, they should lock her up. She's just very strong.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail. Crooked Hillary, wait. Crooked, you should lock her up, I'll tell you. It's right, lock them up. You should lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
So again, Donald Trump has introduced this new post-truth era to politics where he just lies more than every other politician. And it's really frustrating when you talk to Trump supporters and they say something like, oh, but all politicians lie. No, this is different. Donald Trump lies to an extent that we have never seen before. But you guys already know that. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you leave a like. Make sure you comment a blue heart. Hit the subscribe button and have a great night/day.